Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about one of the not so pretty parts of the human design experiment, and that is your not self theme. Specifically, we'll be diving into the not self theme of projectors, which is bitterness, and by the end of this video, you'll learn the answers to the following questions. What is the not self theme? What is the not self theme of bitterness and how does it manifest itself? And lastly, how you can overcome this not self theme of bitterness and stay in alignment to your true and authentic self. So if you enjoy this video and want to continue to deepen your understanding of human design, I'd be so grateful if you could show me some love, hit that like button, and subscribe to my channel. With that said, hi, if you're new here, my name is Crystal Alfarero, and I'm a human design teacher, guide, entrepreneur, and host of the Magnetic Self podcast. And I'm also your fellow projector. Now, I know talking about the not self theme in human design isn't exactly the most uplifting or pleasant part of learning about this system, but I feel like it's very important to shed light on this topic so that you can understand it, integrate it, and heal it, and really become the most authentic and whole version of you. So let's just dive in. So what is the not self theme? Well, each type has what's called the not self theme and the signature themes. You can think of these pretty much as the signposts or signals as to whether or not we're living out our true self, living in alignment to our authentic self. And your not self theme is really what you'll experience when you make your decisions through your conditioning and mental reasoning, as opposed to using your appropriate strategy and authority, and therefore face resistance. So for projectors, what you might experience is that theme of bitterness. So what is the not self theme of bitterness? Well, bitterness obviously does not refer to the taste, but rather those feelings of resentment, jealousy, anger, disappointment, either towards ourselves or towards others. And a personal example of this is when I first started out as an entrepreneur in the online coaching space. I was constantly out there trying to initiate things with potential clients. I wasn't using the correct strategy for my design of really waiting for that invitation. And I was just forcing things to happen. I was trying to implement a bunch of different sales and social media tactics that felt totally unaligned for me personally, kind of like that forced engagement on Instagramming and DMing. And of course, I faced a lot of resistance and rejection that way. While this might work for some people, for me, it was just totally draining, energy consuming. It didn't feel good at all. And I was just exhausted and I couldn't keep up. When I started to notice that other people in the space who kind of started around the same time as me were starting to excel ahead, I got into my head and I started to compare myself. I started to get jealous as much as I did not want to admit it, but I was triggered by their success because I felt behind and I felt like I wasn't good enough. And I tried to blame the fact that, nothing I was doing was really working for me. I felt unworthy of success, and quite frankly, I was bitter and jealous because deep down inside, I almost felt like I wouldn't be capable of success myself. And so that's just one big example of how I was just doing things in ways that felt totally out of alignment, and as a result started to feel bitter and jealous towards others. I mean, there were other obviously underlying things causing that bitterness, and that's what I wanted to get into. And so in traditional human design, the solution to deconditioning, feeling fulfilled and aligned and experiencing your signature theme, which for projectors is success, is by implementing your strategy and authority. And these are the two tools that human design provides you to really live in alignment with your true self. And as Ra-Uru-Hu, the creator of human design, has stated, when you can live in accordance to your strategy and authority, everything else just falls into place. And while I agree that living as your true self and making aligned decisions is the key to fulfillment, I wanted to talk about the other things that can really help supplement your human design experience and facilitate your transformation into deeper alignment with your true and authentic self and away from that not self theme of bitterness, and really tackle those things that are holding you back from doing that. And so before we get into how you can get into alignment and really stay there, I'd love to hear from you down below. What kinds of videos would you like me to create for you? Because this channel is made for you. So I want to make sure that I give you what you want to learn about. And you're helping me out and giving me some ideas to work with. So what are practical ways to overcome this not self theme of bitterness? Like I mentioned, the journey back to yourself isn't always a walk in the park, and living by your strategy and authority can sound so much easier said than done. So today I'm going to share with you my top 5 practices for moving away from that not self theme of bitterness and really getting into deeper alignment now so that you can start living your design with so much more ease and flow and truly experience that signature theme of success that you so much deserve. And so the first tip I'm going to start with is decluttering. Yes, this is exactly what it sounds like. And this means getting rid of the things that no longer bring you joy or that no longer serve you. And this can include your job situation, your personal belongings, relationships, and even your day-to-day activities. So when it comes to your personal, physical items that we no longer use, these things can hold stagnant and lingering energy and really block that flow of energy and abundance and that flow for newer things to come in. And when it comes to the things that we actually do with our energy, often bitterness can come when we're forcing ourselves to do things that we just don't want to do, or we're living lives that are totally unaligned to what we want. Therefore, decluttering is important because it's really important to create the environment that is most conducive to your fulfillment as much as possible. And the more that you declutter things that add no value to your life, the more you really create space, both physically and energetically, for better things to flow in. And decluttering feels like such a huge relief for me. It's really like you're signaling to the universe that you are ready for the next level. So how do you start decluttering? Well, you really just start with where you are right now and take inventory. So what are the clothes, decor, physical items that you have around the house that you no longer use? What can you toss or donate? And if you're keeping it, why is it important for you to keep it if you're not using it or if it no longer brings you joy? Number two, what jobs, tasks, or activities are you doing in your life that are no longer bringing you joy? What can you eliminate completely or stop doing? What can you outsource? And what can you change, or what needs to change in order to get into more alignment? So if there's something that's in the way in order for you to make that change, what are those things that you need to overcome? And what do you need to have in place, or what support do you need to overcome them? And so tip number two is to really prioritize that deep inner work. So first, I briefly wanted to touch on the Principle of Correspondence from the ancient teachings of the Kybalion. And the Principle of Correspondence, according to Hermetic law, states, as above, so below, as below, so above. And in other words, when we apply this to our human lives, it really means that your outer world is a reflection of your inner world. And maybe you've heard this time and time again, or maybe this is new to you, but essentially what that means for us is that in order for our external realities to change, we need to dig deep and make that transformation from the inside. And that means really healing and integrating from the inside out in order to expand and grow. This is why I feel like it's so important to consider your journey holistically and really take into account that mind, body, and soul connection. Because in order to expand and grow, you need to heal. And we can really only move forward to the extent that we heal and free ourselves from the deep inner wounds in our subconscious. Otherwise, it can feel like a constant uphill battle. And when I talk about healing, I really mean identifying and tackling those deep inner wounds in our subconscious that come from any negative experiences in our past. And these experiences then end up forming these limiting beliefs that affect how we behave right now and create these fight or flight reactions or behaviors that sabotage our ability to achieve our goals and live our most authentic and fulfilled lives, and really shape the way that we see the world. Healing also means integrating the parts of ourselves that we were taught to disown or hate so that we can learn to accept ourselves and others and become our whole selves once again. Because it's these beliefs that make us feel less than worthy, in other words, jealous and bitter, and cause us to feel unsafe as adults. So for example, maybe you had a difficult childhood and experienced bullying or parental neglect or abuse. We may not think it affects us now, but the negative reactions and unaligned decisions that we make as adults almost always stem from something that needs healing inside of ourselves. When we experience these emotions more often than not, it drains our energy physically, mentally, and emotionally, and sabotages our ability to make authentic decisions, achieve our goals, and live our most authentic and fulfilled lives. It affects our ability to focus on ourselves and what really matters to us because we are constantly getting triggered by what's going on around us. Since prioritizing and incorporating healing practices into my life, I've been able to feel so much better about myself and be more in alignment with my true self on a consistent basis. I feel so much more resilient. And from here, I'm in such a better place to serve others. And so 2 of my favorite healing techniques are shadow work and inner child work. I do not have enough time, unfortunately, to dive into the details of what those are, but let me know in the comments if you want to learn more, and I can make another video on what I've done specifically. Otherwise, I highly recommend looking into the Pathway membership from Lacey Phillips, who offers workshops on inner child and shadow work with really awesome self-hypnosis audios and comprehensive journal prompts. This is not a paid ad, by the way. I've done these workshops myself and I found them very effective. And they're a great intro to doing this work on your own. So I will leave all of that information in the comments for you below, in the description for you below. And so the third tip I have for you is to implement higher self-embodiment practices. And this is a spiritual practice that I started to implement last year. And it all comes down to really feeling into your true self. So you can be that person right now. And this is what's allowed me to be able to serve with calmness and confidence. And it really keeps me grounded and connected to my purpose. And I find that when I have a clear vision of my higher self, who I am, how I feel, who I aspire to be, I can really tap into that at any time I start to feel these self-sabotaging behaviors and thoughts creep up, like jealousy and comparison. I can use it to really step into my own purpose and serve with confidence and remember who the hell I really am. So here's my kind of 3-step process. Number 1, get to know your higher self and journal around it. Who are they? How do they feel? What energies do they embody? So thinking back to your own human design chart and those innate energies and strengths that you have. What can you do now to align yourself today? Number 2, meditate and visualize on who that is, on everything that you've written down. And step 3, really just embody it. Set the intention to embody it and do it. Tip number 4, prioritize physical self-care. Your body is your human vessel that gets you really from point A to point B, and sometimes moving away from bitterness towards others comes down to the basics. And that's through taking care of your physical body. When I first started my entrepreneurship journey, I neglected this aspect and it took a huge toll on the way I felt and the way that I performed. And I couldn't keep up energetically. I was always drained. I had chronic anxiety. My mind was just always buzzing and going into these negative thought spirals of comparison and, not feeling good enough. And because I had all this stagnant energy in me and I didn't have an outlet to really release it, it just felt really, really shitty. And so as soon as I started making these small changes again and prioritizing my health, things just shifted. I gained energy, I gained confidence, and I'm way more equipped to manage my mental health. And what I've experienced throughout my life is that, when you feel good, physically, you'll feel better about yourself in general. And when you feel better about yourself, obviously, you're less likely to feel bitter and take that out on others. And I'm not even saying go to the gym and have a strict dietary regimen, get ripped, but really just small daily healthy habits can make a huge difference, like getting in daily movement, go for a walk, do some yoga, drink your 8 glasses of water a day, eat more fruits and vegetables, get those vitamins in. And all of these things together, these little changes can really work to reduce that stress, release endorphins, and just make you happier. And for anyone who remembers Legally Blonde, just like Elle Woods said, happy people don't just kill people. And I feel that this heavily applies to whether or not you feel triggered by others. And so the last tip I have for you today is to have fun and incorporate more play into your life. Because when you're having fun and enjoying the things you do, you are more present and are simply far too occupied in what you're even doing to even be bothered with feelings of bitterness. There's just no space for that. So ask yourself, what do you enjoy doing? What causes you to pass time quickly without even realizing? Do more of those things. Follow your passions, incorporate more play, and doing the things that you love, because it's when you're immersing yourself in these things that you are automatically connected and in alignment to your true authentic self without even trying. So that wraps up my top 5 tips, and I hope you found them helpful. If you have any other tips that you would like to share around moving away from your not self theme and into alignment, I would love for you to share them down below. And if you're wanting to get that extra help to understand your own chart and energy centers and would like to do a human design reading, I do offer one-to-one readings that include a 60-minute Zoom call. Plus, you get a customized 30-page human design blueprint with all of that good stuff just for you, for your own learning and reflection that you can always use as a resource guide to go back to. And I'll leave the link in the description and all the information down for you below. And that brings me to the end of this episode, where we answered the following questions. What is the not self theme? What is the not self theme of bitterness? how can you overcome this not self theme of bitterness and stay in alignment? And I truly believe that being proactive in your healing and getting to the core of what holds you back can really fast forward you into growth, happiness, and fulfillment. And it may not be an easy or a fun process, but it's from this place that you can enter your natural state of abundance as your true, authentic self. And this is where things get to be easy. So if you enjoyed this video, I'd be so grateful if you could show me some love, hit that like button, and subscribe to continue learning more about the wonderful human design system. And with that said, have an amazing day or evening, and I'll catch you in the next video. Bye.